One live. We're here. We're here. We're back. Hi, everyone. Hello. If you're there, I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to know you. And I'm happy you're here. Wow. Life's been a whirlwind lately. Can I get a amen on that? Anyone with me? Anyone's life been a whirlwind? I think it's the nature of what I do. I'm always, I've got my fingers in a lot of different pies, so to speak. And so, life's just kind of been crazy. I've been doing this and that, but I've had this on the schedule, which I'm excited for. And there's actually a user, or an artist who found me via these live streams, and so we both thought it would be appropriate and fun to do a little mix of theirs here on this live stream. And I had my friend Andrew Jocelyn, string recorder extraordinaire. There he is. There's the picture of him directing traffic at the orchestra. Write a string score for this. This is kind of this Latin pop type of song, and it's got a lot of nice drama to it, so perfect song for strings. And the artist Gabriel had already done some kind of mock-up strings and some just virtual things. Pretty robust arrangement actually already, just virtually. That then Andrew kind of followed his lead and created a beautiful string score. So today on this live stream, I'm just going to kind of get started on this mix. And this one's a little bit different in that I'm getting it, I have not worked on this song basically until this mix. So that's primarily maybe what you've seen me do on this channel is like mix stuff that I've already been producing and engineering. And I love doing it that way because I kind of know what I'm getting into. But I also love getting files from clients that like this who I don't know and who are new to me, new friends, and then just digging into their mix and putting my own little 2 cents on it, and obviously just trying to make it sound as in the case of this song, just big and epic, which is kind of my thing. I love just doing giant epic mixes. Who doesn't love hearing a big epic mix? And if you got this Latin pop thing and you got a full string section, and it's like you're on your way there to making it sound big and epic. So I'm going to first kind of show you what kind of tracks they have, maybe do a little session organization, bring in the real strings, and see how they fit into the whole picture. And we'll get started kind of on our mix here. We may not get all the way through today, but we'll get started, and we'll hopefully take a nice healthy chunk out of it. So that's the plan. Also, if you're here, say hi. I will be looking down here. If you're new here, I go live on this channel sometimes, and I like to interact with the audience. So I got my streaming computer down here. And so I'll be looking down there, or if I have this camera angle, I'll be looking right here to see your comments, or if you have comments or questions. Or I think the artist themselves, Gabriel, is supposedly going to be joining us, and would love to hear feedback from them as well. And hopefully it's all good things. So let's get started here. So here's our Pro Tools session. I have already gone through and color-coded things here. So I've got my color codes in. I've also got sort of my default drum groups here in, and my my auxes that I use to process stuff. And then I've got, we got a couple acoustic guitars. We got a few electric guitars, but not that many. We've got some keys stuff with some, so yeah, well here, let's go back to the top. So we've got a full kit here, and I've already added just kind of a stand-in sample on the kick and the snare there. I don't know actually if these are acoustically tracked real drums. They sound, I forgot what the original artist said, but they sound pretty good. But I do have some samples in there just to kind of beef up the punchiness. I like a punchy kick and snare. We got a shaker, we got a tambo, a Verbi tambo, we got some bongo, some maracas, some clave, some wood block in this bridge section, which is really cool. Those come in. And then we've got just a single bass here, assuming it's just sort of a DI kind of sound on the bass. No nonsense bass sound. Should be a piece of cake to get that going. We have a mono acoustic here that comes in and out, and then a stereo acoustic that has some that has a little sort of processing on it here. And then there's actually there's a delay here. Yeah. There's a delay also on the acoustic that it was printed. The producer did a good job of sort of printing some of the more important effects. So if you're producing a track and you really like the reverb, or whatever, then it's good to print that to audio. And they did that with the vocal too, which I'll mention in just a second. So we've got these acoustics. We've got a few electrics that kind of come in here on the bridge, but then they sort of peace out. So this song's really not very guitar heavy. We got a piano that goes through the whole thing. A harpsichord as well. Some brass toward the end, some virtual brass. We've got glockenspiel, timpani, vibraphone, and tubular bells, so sort of some orchestral like percussion. And then all this in yellow right now is our sort of guide strings, okay? And the way I usually, I won't, depending on how the real strings interface with the guide strings, I sometimes end up using the guides as well, just to thicken up, as long as there's not competing sort of lines in there. So I may use a combination of like the real thing that we got from Andrew, and then some of these guide strings that that Gabriel has already put in here. There's a VCA for the strings, which I'm just going to leave alone because I'm going to let the guide strings be what the guide strings are. I don't want to mess too much with that. I'll mess around with the real strings once we get those in here. And then we've got a lead vocal separately tracked here on the verse and the chorus. And then we also have some doubles of the lead vocal that come in the chorus. And we've got some effects that are printed here. So these that are no color here, that are just gray, are like a little micro shift on the vocal, which is like a little pitch chorusy thing. There's a hall reverb and there's a delay as well, just on the chorus. And then there's a different delay that goes through the verses. And then we've got a bunch of background vocals here as well. We've got some VCAs on those background vocals. Again, I'm just going to leave those alone. I'm going to assume that, since the producer included these VCAs and a VCA is a voltage controlled amplifier. Basically, it's a group that you use to turn down, a whole group or it's a fader that you use to turn down a whole group of vocals. So, for example, like right here, they wanted this line a little bit lower than the rest. I trust their background vocal mix. I'm not gonna get in there too much unless something is hitting me weird, and then maybe I'll get in there and adjust a few things up and down. But in general, I'm gonna leave that alone. I mean that's sort of my philosophy when mixing is like I want to work with this producer, with this artist. I'm not in competition with them to, we're both all in the same boat here to try to make the best sounding mix that we can, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of things that are subjective in mixing. And so if you have an opinion about something and you're an artist or whatever, I always want to hear that opinion. Like I'm like, tell me what you're hearing here, what you want, and all opinions are sort of welcome at this point. So let's get started. I wanna do this kind of piece by piece here because I did kind of a rough mix to send to Andrew Jocelyn, the string guy. But I want to go back and just give this mix really the royal treatment, and get started sort of in earnest here. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's start with these drums, like I always like to do. Let's hear this kick drum here. Okay. Okay, so I put this kick sample in here as well. Here's just the kick sample. I got this Fab filter, which everybody raves about, and I've been trying to use it more. So I've got it on this first kick drum here. Let's just listen to this kick drum. Yeah, the tone of that is kind of knobby and kind of duck, duck, duck. Like it's got a okay attack to it, but I don't actually love the attack, so I'm killing some of the top end, which is actually what they did when they had it sent to me too. So I'm doing sort of a version of what they were doing, but then I'm also boosting somewhere around where is this 66 hertz, so kind of just way low, kind of boosting this low end. And then let's listen to this sample kick here. Yeah. So here's my different samples I've got in here. I've got this Wig Classic, sort of a Ludwig, sort of a roomy sounding kick. And then I've also got this Thudwig, which is, I'm going to turn that one down a little bit, actually, compared to this Wig Classic here. There's a lot of, I know just from listening to this before this broadcast that there's actually a lot of the kick that comes through the overheads. So the attack of the kick, like we have plenty of attack to kind of like work with here, so we don't necessarily need more of that. What we do want is that low end from the actual kick drum mics. So I may solo the if I turn off my head here, I'm going to solo the two kicks here. I don't know if you can see that with the overheads. So right now it's just the kicks and the overheads that are soloed, and let's listen to that. Okay, yeah. See, that's sounding better. That's sounding decent. So without getting too into the weeds, I want to listen to the individual mics, but I don't. That's about how long I want to mess with them, because obviously on a drum kit everything affects everything else. So before too long, I want to be listening to the whole kit. But before I do that, I do want to listen to the individual drums just to see what we've got there. Again, since I didn't record this, I need to know a little bit more before I move on to like processing the full sound of the kit. So I'm just going to listen to the snare here. Hello, Harsh Panda. Pandy. Harsh Panda says, "How are you, sir?" I'm doing great. How are you? Where are you from? Thanks for watching today. We're just we're mixing some drums here. Okay, so this is unprocessed. I've taken this EQ off. So a couple things. The nice thing about this is, again, I don't know if this is all just virtual drums or not, but The nice thing is that there's some ghost notes. There's there's those in between things that lends the sense of realism and also just kind of sounds good and sounds dynamic and whatever. Harsh Panda is from India. Wow. Thanks, India, for watching. I've been to India. I was in India in November and December of 1998. I was there for 2 months. I went to Bangalore and Hyderabad. And that's about all. And I remember, yes, the people just being very lovely, and glad you're watching. It's a great country, beautiful country down there in India. Hope you're doing all right. So, it's not a bad snare sound. I like it. It's like maybe a little ringy, which I don't mind. I don't mind a ringy snare. Let's listen to the note compared to the key of the song. Yeah, so the ring of the snare is the 5, is the 5th interval of the key of the song. So that ring is gonna sound just fine within the context of the song. It'll sort of disappear. So we don't have to kill it that much, but I am gonna mess with it a little bit with this EQ. Just giving it a nice little low-end bump here around 150 with this Fab filter. That's kind of as you can see with this sort of frequency analyzer here, you can see that that's already where it's kind of hitting. Right there on that. So I'm just kind of accentuating the natural low end of the snare. I'm not adding anything that's like super artificial. And then I'm just killing a little bit of the ring by just grabbing some of this mid-range at sort of a wide frequency and then just boosting a little sizzle on the top end. You can also hear the one thing that's interesting about this is that it's it's gated, so you can hear the gate opening and closing. It was just printed like this. I don't have a gate on this snare. This is just how it sounds. So when you hear that cymbal, you hear the kind of cymbal in the snare drum mic, so you hear that gate opening and closing. So it's okay. Yeah. If anything, that'll probably just help us, isolate the sound of the snare. So anyway, that's that. And then we have this snare sample as well, which I put in here. Okay, so let's adjust first the trigger point at which it sort of comes in here. Hold on, give me a sec. I think I just want it to come in because I don't think we're going to be able to go ba-da-do-dat. And nor do we really want to. Yeah, so we're gonna take the detail up here, which is basically like the threshold. We just want the snare sample to trigger on the big like backbeats here. Okay, so just like that. Now when you do this, you just got to be aware that now your 2 and 4s are going to be a lot more accentuated than those ghost notes. So level wise, you want to maybe bring this out a little bit. Yeah. I like the body of that original snare, but then this sample just kind of adds a little guts to it and also a little length too. So here's without it. Here's just the original. And then I'll add the sample. That's kind of nice. That's a nice starting place. And then I also have this distorted snare. I'll probably just use this very sparingly, if at all. There's a little preview of the flavor here. Now let's listen to these toms here. Oh yeah, wait, hang on. Okay. Yeah, so these are okay, so these are also really highly gated, which is why I think I already put, just for this rough mix, I put this trigger plug-in on here. And I have this at a pretty healthy mix, and I just put a tom sample in there, which is not getting triggered here. Yeah, let's bring this detail down, because we don't have to worry about it triggering at false times because everything's just gated. So I just want to hear what the kit does right there. What is it? Does the kit actually go to toms there? Yeah, it does. So that should be a rack and then floor. Okay, that's fine. Let's just bring let's bring this region just up a little bit so that it's a little easier for the trigger to capture the sound there. Okay, there we go. Now this mix, you know, I don't know. Let's go to 100% mix on this sample here. Yeah, I think he's going to be happier with that. Let's do the same thing down here. Let's bring this detail down so it captures everything, and then let's bring the mix all the way up. Yeah, just a little more. So let's hear that now with the whole drum kit. Cool. Harsh Panda says, I'm also a sound engineer, sir. Well, good for you. That's great. I'm glad. Also, Juan Arriaga says, you've been everywhere. LOL. Yeah, I used to travel a fair bit. Not so much anymore, but I absolutely love traveling. I love, the more places I go, the more I love all those places. But yes, I've been to India, been to Venezuela twice, Mexico, Canada, of course, and then all around the U.S., most of all the 50 states. And then I've been to Germany, and I've been to Amsterdam, and I've been to London, like we did the Abbey Road thing. Any other countries? I've been everywhere, man. You guys know that song? Okay, so that's decent on those toms there, just for now anyway. Now let's check out this hi-hat here. What's going on with this? Wow. Okay, I don't know why I put that EQ on there, but I did. Okay, first of all, let's turn this up a little bit. Well, these are obviously real drums, but some of them have been replaced, but like also there's like gated. Anyway, I don't know. We're figuring it out. I'm gonna reset this here. Yeah, it's not bad sounding, but let's just kind of bring down this low end here just a little bit. Okay, and then there's just a little frequency that I don't like when he opens it up, when he or she, I don't know who played this. Let's see if we can find it here. Here's one. Yeah, so let me just loop this here. going to be sort of annoying to listen to, but a lot of the harshness that that you hear from cymbals is in the like 2-3K range. 2 and 3K is like, you know, our ears can just only handle so much of it before we, you know, go like this. And so when you're building a big mix, a lot of times I'm cutting 2 and 3K. So let's just do that there. I think it's got plenty of top end. I don't think we need to boost any top. Let me just see what they were doing. They were not doing anything. Or they had a filter. Oh yeah, they had a filter way up at... Oh, I just copied what they did because they had a filter way up there. That's why I had that filter. So I was just copying their thing. But I want some of that low end in there actually. But just just cutting a little of that harshness. So if I bring that filter up too high, just listen to what it does. I mean, maybe that's... It also gets the snare out of the hi-hat mic when you do a filter that high. So depending on the phase, let's just check the phase between the snare and the hi-hat here. Where can I flip the phase? Sorry, this plugin is new to me, so I don't actually know how to flip the phase of it. Where is it? Hello? Oops. Wait, come on, phase, where are you? You got it, there you are. I think it does actually sound a little better with the phase flipped. So since the snare is coming through the hi-hat mic a little bit, it matters. The phase of the hi-hat matters. So let's actually, since we did that, let's just check the original phase between the kick and the snare here. And when you're checking phase, snare, I mean, you have one reference, and usually I pick snare. So the snare is like God. So you don't change the phase on the snare. Leave the phase and the snare the way it is, and then change everything else so that you have the most low end when you're listening to those things soloed with the snare. So here's the snare and the kick. Just gonna flip it here. Since they are so gated, it's not going to make a huge difference, but I think I did like it a little bit better flipped. So then I'm going to flip the phase on this sample because the sample I think was good with the kick, but let's double check that. Yeah. The tough thing about phase is that it doesn't exist in a perfect universe. So again, just a little primer on phase if you're not familiar with it is every waveform has a positive and negative aspect of the wave. So it's like if you see a zero line right here, there you see a kick drum, and I mean we could zoom in on it here, and you can literally see this. Right there. So here's the zero line, right? And you got it going up and then down, up and down, and up and down. So this is the same track, just duplicated, and then this track is triggering a different, and actually you can just look too, which we could look at these, because he does hit. Sorry, one sec. So right there, when he hits the kick and the snare together, I guess it just depends on the timing too. So yeah, those do look like they're out. So if you look at this right here, okay, so look at this snare drum waveform and then this kick drum waveform. This is actually a good example, and you don't normally get it this clean, but you can see, look at this, look. So this one goes up and then it comes down. So this is down right here in the song. And what's happening on the snare drum? It's up right there. So because the snare drum is at a positive, sort of like a net positive waveform, when the kick drum is at a negative, those two things are out of phase with each other and they're fighting. They're fighting complementing frequency response. So what you get is a cancellation there, and the primary thing that cancels out is the low end, right? So when you're listening for phase, when you're listening to hear if something's in phase or not, you're listening for more low end. More low end is always better 100% of the time. Always go with more low end because you can always cut it. If you got too much low end, you can always cut it. You can always move microphones. But what you can't do is when two things are canceling out, you can't necessarily get that low end back. Now you can flip phase after the fact, but it's better to record it, correctly. But anyway, we have that ability. So my ears told me what my eyes now are seeing, which is that the snare was a little bit out of phase with the kick. The problem is it's not always exactly 180 degrees out of phase. So when you're doing a phase flip, you're just turning it upside down basically, right? And sometimes it's like 25% out of phase or 25 degrees out of phase, and it's not 180 degrees. So it's not an exact science. It's not like perfect, or whatever. But in general, just flipping phase will work. But you can also just move things, and I'll do that sometimes too. Is like if something's 90 degrees out of phase where neither sounds good, to flip it in or out, I'll just literally move the whole track backward and forward, because that's all you're doing with phase is you're messing with the timing of the hit. And when you have 14 microphones on a drum kit, there's all kinds of things happening, and the phase relationship between the microphones becomes very, very important. So it's another reason why I like to just use one microphone on most things, not drums obviously. But like guitars, I like to use one mic on guitars. One, and then maybe a stereo room mic. Because then phase doesn't really come into consideration that much, because you have one close one. But to have two close mics, you're dealing with the phase properties, the differences in the microphone capsules, where are they placed. I like to I'm a one mic on a guitar cab type of guy. That's just how I roll. Anyway, Juan Arriaga says, I was about to ask what was phase? Glad you're talking about it. Okay, good. I'm not just talking to the air. I'm glad someone's getting something out of it. Cymbals too. One more thing I'll say real quickly on cymbals is to buy dark cymbals. Get dark sounding cymbals. It's very difficult to it's a lot easier, I'll say it this way positively, to get a great sound out of a drum kit if you have big, dark, washy cymbals. Now, maybe your band, that's not your vibe or whatever. I understand that. But in general, in a studio, you need a darker cymbal than... and I find I love those cymbals live too. But sometimes they can't really... The cymbals that really make sense in a studio, like either old vintage, dirty, like from the 60s vintage Zildjian cymbals, or like the Istanbul Agop are amazing, or the Zildjian Karope are also amazing. They're like the most expensive cymbals you can buy. It literally costs like $500 for a pair of hi-hats, or I've seen like a ride cymbal for $700. Very expensive, but worth it. Absolutely worth it. So where were we at here? We flipped our phase. we're listening to our phase on our kick and our snare. And I think we're in good shape now. Yep. I like it. Okay. I don't think we'll have to worry too much about our toms because those are now just samples. And our hat, we just checked that out. Now let's check out our overheads here. So I had already flipped this phase, but so I'm gonna solo my overheads with my snare now. And also it helps to listen in mono because sometimes in stereo, it's hard to tell what's canceling each other out. If it's really wide, it kind of just sounds like it's everywhere. So you got to put it in mono. So if you have a monitor controller, I've got this little thing, and I got a switch here that switches it to mono. So that just brings everything dead center. And then when I'm listening, I can really hear if things are canceling out. So now I'm gonna solo my overheads. And again, this is something I would usually do while recording, but since I didn't record this, I don't know that all of these things are in phase or not. So I need to check this because it's very important for your mix. I can also just look at it. Let's look at it first. Actually, let's listen to it first and then we'll look at it. So this is the, and I'm gonna just disable the EQ just to get a pure kind of sound here. So this is the overheads and just the original top snare. Okay. See, that sounds out of phase to me because it sounds like there's not a lot of low end happening, which it looks like I already flipped the phase on this one. Okay, yeah. Like, huge difference. Listen to this. Everybody listen. Listen, listen, listen. Now I have a little EQ on here. Let's just, like, should we turn this off for the time being, or can I do that? No, I don't want to do that. I'll just bypass it. Okay, so listen to this, which is just bypassed. Okay, listen to the low end of the snare coming through. Now I'm going to unbypass this plugin. Listen how much more low end there is. And I mean, counterintuitively, look what I'm doing on this EQ. I'm cutting low end and I'm cutting like low mids. I'm cutting all this stuff, and yet there's a ton more low end. It's because it was out of phase. Originally, it was out of phase. Now let's just look visually and see if we can find evidence of that. And yes, absolutely we can. Look at this. Okay, so right here, here's these overheads. You see that peak right there, right here? It goes up on. This is the overheads. It goes up right here. On the snare, it goes down. So these are almost exactly out of phase. So put them in phase. Life's happy. Cool. Okay. And then we've got a mono mic here. Kind of a mono room type of thing. I'm just gonna preemptively put a little LA2 on here because that's kind of what I like on my mono mic. That's interesting. This thing kind of changes throughout the course of the song here. Oh, I have the snare mute. I was like, man, I could hear, I thought I could hear some gating and stuff. I was like, why is there a gate on the mono? But it's because I had the snare highlighted too. Okay, let's listen again. There we go, okay. I was like, what am I hearing here? Pretty roomy, big sound. Sorry about that. My mouse button sticks sometimes, so I accidentally like turned that up all the way for a second. That's good for that one for now. Let's listen to this room mic here. Just gonna bring up this. I'll do that with this one too. Just gonna bring up this waveform a little bit. I'm gonna do that with a few things here. I like my waveforms to be healthy, because then they hit the my bus compressor thing, my heat, my Pro Tools heat. They hit that better, because we'll mess with levels in a second. But I just like the individual waveforms to be like nice and big. So we'll have to adjust levels here after this, but that's fine. So here's the room near. Woo! That's pretty cool sounding. I'm just going to put a little SSL channel EQ on there and just kind of kill probably most of the low end, like below 80, and then like a little bit of the low mids, like 200. Because really, like a set of mics like that, what you really want it for is that excitement on the kind of mid range and the top end. Ha hoo hoo ha ha hoo hoo ha. Anything that's in kind of the low mids to the low end is just going to get in the way. So that SSL just kind of cleans that up a little bit. I might even add like a little, because it's kind of a dark sound, which I don't mind. I like it. Just a little EQ on there. So here's the room far. Wow. I'm gonna do a similar thing on this one. Boom. I heard about a gate before. How does that work? Okay, so a gate. Juan Arriaga had a question. Said, I heard about a gate before. How does that work? So, a gate is a tool that you can use, an audio tool, which basically only lets sounds through if they're over a certain level. So if you have, for example, then they're very useful, especially live, because if you have like a snare drum sound. But if you want that mic to basically be off when he's not hitting the snare drum, you set a threshold, and your threshold on the gate is the point at which the gate will open, right? So think of it like this. The gate's closed. By default, the gate is closed. And then if a certain volume level hits it, the gate will open up and let it through. And then after that volume level comes back down, the gate will close back down again. So it's like the gate's opening and closing. So on that snare, for example, you can hear it. That original snare, here's that snare. And on a gate, you can tell it to close all the way or close like most of the way, so that it's just a little quieter, but the other things are still there when you're not hitting. And you can set a lot of different options, but basically that's what it is, without going into too much detail on that. I generally don't like gates, because I feel like you end up missing stuff. And when I'm in the studio, I can control. I'll just mute something if I don't want to hear it. Now live, I can understand why people like them, because you're really controlling. You have to worry about stage volume and things like that. So live guys, they love gates, but I am like, I don't like them. Okay, back to our mix here. I think we're ready to just kind of like, I want to solo the drums kind of one at a time here and get just a nice drum mix going here. And we're not far away from it already, but here we go. bridge with all that fun stuff. Come on. Yeah. Okay, so that's not sounding bad. We're like already in good shape. It's sounding good. I'm starting to hear a lot of low mids on the snare. So I think a lot of that is actually coming from the room mics, which I like. But I don't want to kill like all the low end on the room mics because I'm already doing that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is actually just brighten up the snare, the top snare itself, which right now it looks like the EQs are off, which I might have already been doing that. Let's just turn these suckers on. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Bring in the bass. Yeah. Okay, bass player. You got some pan automation in there. I love it. This piano here, which is called Basic Piano. Looks like I'm already brightening it up a little bit. Yeah, we need to bring some excitement to this piano here. Also, some space around it would be nice. Extend it to the reverb here. Since he's just kind of playing like these whole notes or half notes, let's put a little delay on there too, like a little tape delay, kind of a verby, vibey delay. I feel like I need to up my tape delay plugin game a little bit. What do I want? What do I want on this? Maybe I'll try this. So I think a quarter note dotted. It's a little more interesting there. So that was the original. This is just kind of a you know, like tone reference, you know, sort of a thing in the song. Okay, and then there's sort of little twinkly things there. And then I'm gonna leave this other stuff kind of as it was for now. And let's go grab these strings. Oh man, I've been talking about these strings. Another question from Juan. Juan says, do you ever leave your delays to be only in mono? Yeah, sometimes. It depends. But usually stereo. Because that's, you know, you want that. Now, if there's a vocal delay that's like, that's very specific, like I want a vocal delay on a quarter note or something like that, I want that to be a little more mono. Like I don't, and stereo is different than like ping pong too. So it can be like going back and forth, like what I was doing right there. Ping pong is like going from one to the other, but you can also place the stereo wherever you want in the stereo field with like the super tap delay. It doesn't have to be 100% wide. It can just be a little bit wide, so that it's creating like a sense of space. Or you can have it, you know, over here and over here, but these are two very slightly different times, and that just provides a sense of like, oh, there's only one delay, but it's wide. So there's a number of things you can do. But okay, let's go get these strings, for crying out loud. I don't even have the strings in the session yet. We're gonna go get them. Andrew has sent them to us. He sent us like a mock-up, which was great. But these are all the original individual string files. So it looks like we've got cello 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C. And usually the 1 and the 2 is like part 1. So this is all going to be the same part that the cello's playing, and then 3 different versions of it, so stacking on top of each other, and then 2A, 2B, viola, and then violin, all the way up to here. So we've got a bunch of tracks to bring in. Okay. Yo. Okay, I think we're back. Are we back? Great. Fantastic. I think we're back. Sorry about that. I didn't realize my computer was not plugged in, and I all of a sudden just looked down and it died. So I think we're back now, though. Let me know if we're back. I think we're back. Cool. So while you were gone, I started importing these strings, and here they come. This is going to be fun. This will be fun. Here they all are. Look at all those colorful strings. Okay, so first thing, we're just going to make a group of all of those, and that's going to be called real strings. So I can adjust those up and down. I'm just going to turn them all down for now. And then, yeah, looks like we are in good shape here as far as lining up to the song. And then I'm going to now make these their own color, which let's just make them a similar color to the other strings, but maybe a little bit different, like a darker. We're going to go with like a mustard yellow here. Lamo. Okay, so now we've got the real thing, and we've got the other ones. So in general, I like to be have sort of some fun with the panning here. I like to separate instruments out when I'm doing strings. Okay, and actually also we can see here that cello 1A and 1C, are like in the intro here, but then 1B is just in the choruses. So 1B might be doing something slightly different, and then the cello 2 comes in just on the bridge, and then at the last chorus B here. Similar thing with the viola and violin. But in general, I like to, now let me see if I'm doing this right, because I'll have to do it opposite. So I like to, like from your perspective, I like to go, because if I'm looking at a string quartet, typically this is the way they'll be lined up. Violin 1, violin 2, viola, and cello. Yeah, if I'm looking at them, it's like from here, violin. And in general, that's kind of where I like to put stuff. But in order to get, not to weight it down too much on one side, like only the violins are over here, I will, sometimes with multiple violins, I will put one of them, over on the other side just to create a stereo effect. But in general, I don't like to put, like if I have two violins, I don't like to put them both all the way wide and then both the cellos all the way wide and both, because the whole thing with going, like if you're going to go watch an orchestra, they're in specific places. All of the violins are in one place. The violins are not, like spread out throughout the whole orchestra. The violins are like right here. And then the cellos are like over here. And then the violas are here. So there's a space, there's a spatial thing to it that that is kind of specific, and I like to follow the rules in a general sense on that. My thing still says unable to connect to the chat. Let me know if I'm back. If I'm back, send me a chat. Back live for everyone? Question mark? I think so. I think we're back live. It says we're live. Everything says we're live. All the evidence points to that we're live. Now we're going to listen to these strings here, kind of one at a time. And I'm going to pan these out in a way that kind of makes sense. So here we go. So first thing, we're just going to solo just these strings. We'll send them places in a moment. Let's hear what it's doing in the chorus here. Okay, number one, first thing right out of the gate, let's thicken these suckers up. There's not nearly enough low end in these right now. If it's a cello, it's got to be brimming with low end. I mean, you can always get rid of it later, but it's got to like resonate on the low end. It's a little better. Sorry, you can't hear these yet because they're not going to a place where you can hear. Give me 1 second. Okay. There we go. Now I can see the chat. I just didn't have the chat. The chat is back. Okay, we're back. We're back with the chat. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, that's fine for now. I'm also just going to make a group here with the cellos. Just going to go cello 1, cello 2. So this next one's going to be, this is viola 1. I feel like I'm about to walk into Mordor over here. Am I right? Okay, let's check these. This is viola. It's gonna be viola 2. This is gonna be violin 1. Okay, let's check this violin 2. Okay, let's check these violin 3s here. Starting to sound kind of pretty. Sounds sad, but the melody is really good. Yeah. Hey, it is sad. Strings are sad. Strings are sad, baby. That's what we love about them. They echo the cry of the human heart. Let's just go. I'm going to go down here to like when there's a bunch of other stuff here and just kind of listen for. Hey-o. See, that's right there. ladies and gentlemen. That's why you hire real strings. You cannot do that unless it's real. I'd love to see you try. I'd love to see you try. Okay, so we got these violins, which are also in there. So what I'm doing is violin A. So there's 3 of each one of these, right? And A and B, I'm putting like in the place, and then C, I'm just putting way on the other side and not at as high of a level. So it spreads it out. There's still some spatial, like when you listen, you're like, okay, the violins are on the left, the cello is on the right, the viola is kind of in the middle. That's fine. Just for kicks, I'm going to turn on the original strings too. Yeah. That'll take some finessing, but just for kicks, let's just turn on everything here. It's a big song. It's a big song. Okay, I'm just going to go through and do a quick balance of all these things now that I have everything in here. Okay. Sorry for the audio cutting in and out there. What I was doing was going back and forth between the rough mix they sent, which was decent, and kind of my working mix here, which I've still got a lot to do on. I think my main challenges, or my main things that I need to still do on this mix, I've got a basic balance there, you know, but this is a giant song, and I think the thing that's going to be well, the thing that I want to do, I'll say it this way, is make certain sections smaller and certain sections bigger. Because right now, everything is like pretty big, even when it comes in, you know, just right on the verse. It's like it's already there. It's already like boom, it's in your face. So I may do some stuff with the drums where like the drums aren't so kind of big and punchy when they first come in, and I can mess with the samples, you know, around that. I also may want to redo this shaker. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that or not. But also Juan, I got a comment from Juan, says this project sounds really great. I agree. Sounds really good. I may want to get my avocado shaker in there just to get a little flavor on that. But yeah, like I don't want the drums to be like as big in the verse as I do. I like them to come in nice and strong, you know, and I like that. But then also, I want more stuff to come in on the chorus, because right now, or the impression that more stuff comes in the chorus, because right now it's like the strings are kind of the main thing, along with the vocals, and I need to go in and mess with the background vocals, like levels and things like that. But right now I want more harmonic sort of content to come in on the chorus. Now the strings that come in are cool, but they've actually been in. Let me just check his reference strings here too. Yeah, like he brings some things in here, but the violins, everything's kind of already in on the choruses. Let me see here, real strings. Are you allowed to post when these songs released? Yeah, I don't actually know when this one's coming out. I thought Gabriel was actually going to be joining us on the stream today, but I have not seen him yet. So that would be a question for him. But I did get his permission to do this live stream, so this is with his permission. But this is what's happening in the verse. And then here's the chorus. So I kind of need more. Hey, there he is. There's Gabriel. How's it going? Hey guys, meet Gabriel, the artist behind these songs. I think the singer. This is you singing, right, Gabriel? Glad you made it. Just kind of digging into this mix. It's a big song, man. This is a big song. Big song. Hope you've been watching, Gabriel, as I've been getting going on this mix. But yeah, I was just saying, like, the things I want to do with this one, and even in the rough that you sent, the thing that I want to change is I want to bring some more dynamics to when the chorus is hit. I want it to really hit big. And so I may even, to be released in July. Okay, says Gabriel. Gabriel says to be released in July, so coming right up here. And Juan Arriaga says, great song, Gabriel. And I agree. But what I want to do is I'm going to play with some stuff. I'm going to play with, like, maybe even muting certain parts of the strings. And so when the chorus hits, they come in, like, nice and big. Also, like I said, I'm going to do some stuff with the drums where, like some of the samples maybe aren't as loud, or just the kick and snare gets automated up, toward the chorus. And then also I may want to, and I'm just going to, I'm going to use this form to just ask Gabriel if it's okay. Sometimes something I do which really helps in a mix is just to add some rhythm guitars. I have, if you know me and you know this channel, I have an arsenal of great guitars, and sometimes just a low gain. It's not like I'm not going to add rock, big rock guitars. Really, it's just for the power that they bring. So having something that comes in, boom, right on the downbeat of a chorus, and whether that's just like a Starcaster on one side and a Gretsch on the other side, doing like a really basic. Song's in the key of F, so I would do like. Yeah, hopefully, that was, Juan's got another question. Where can we follow Gabriel? That's a question for Gabriel. Where can they follow you? Yeah, so I may just for the sake of the mix, and Gabriel says go for it, so that's great. No extra charge. Honestly, I think of producing and mixing and engineering. It's all kind of one big job, and if we can collaborate on that, then that's great. And honestly, first single for Gabriel. Wow, coming out of the gate hot. Gabriel is coming out of the gate hot with his first single. It's called Now and Forever. What artist name do you go by? Just Gabriel? Gabriel R? What's the artist name going to be? But yeah, anyway, so I like to, that's kind of a secret weapon that sometimes I will use to mix, is like, someone will send me a song and go, hey, can you mix this song? And then I mix it and they're like, oh man, it sounds so good. What did you do in your mix? And I'm like, I added stuff. And that's a huge part of it. It's just like, right now on this song, I would say if there's one thing missing, I mean, we got those strings, those real strings in there, and we can still really highlight those, but just for the sake of power, I want some rhythm guitars. And again, they'll disappear into the background, but the point of them is just to have Gabriel Ruiz. That's the artist name. The point of them is just to have the power. So when you get to the chorus, like right now, once we get to the chorus here. The vocals are great, but they don't come in until like the third beat of the chorus. I want something right on the downbeat. So anyway, I've over-explained that. I also may add, since this song is like, in the orchestral sort of wheelhouse, and we actually already have some timpani in here. Ba-da-dum. I'm assuming that's what we're doing here. Let's look. Bum bum ba-da-da-dum. That's that. This is probably the apex moment of the song here. Chorus 3A. And the background vocals are a huge part of it too, because there's like some echoes in the verse. So I really want to, and I love that Latin sort of like call and response thing. And you are gone, my love. Like those aren't loud enough right now, but we're getting there. we're in good shape. We've got everything in the song that we want as far as we've got the strings in there. We got a bunch of vocals. We got the new strings, plus the old ones, which I'll probably reference. I honestly think that this cello that he sent might be a viola playing a cello part, because I don't think Andrew actually plays cello. But we can get away with it. But also, I have actually a really nice the Tina Guo cello. I may just double what he did. Let me just show you guys. So if I create a new track, an instrument track, and I'm gonna have to turn off my let's see here, one sec. I have to turn off my master bus plugins here. But if we solo this, Tina, I just call this Tina cello. Oops, Tina cello. If you guys want a killer virtual cello, let me show you the one. It's a virtual instrument for Kontakt, and it's called Tina Guo. I don't know if that's actually how you say her name or not, but it's let's go find her. Where is she? Here she is. Tina Guo. And it can never find the folder, and I have to go find it manually, and it's like in here, right? No. It's because of the way I saved the file. I saved it weird. Anyway, there it is. So there she is. There's Tina Guo. And this cello. Listen to this thing. Let me put it in your ear holes here. One sec. Hello? Cello? It's also really good. It's called legato cello, and it's really good for, like, actually, if you put it on this sustain setting, you can do multi notes. I mean, you could get kind of lost doing that, but I think since the cello that we have doesn't have like a ton of low end, I'm gonna copy what he did. And so I can do my little fade outs after that, but so just a little tuning issue. It might, I don't know if it's on the on his track or mine. I'm just going to do a little fade up MIDI volume envelope here. I'm going to do it with MIDI just because that's simple, and then I can adjust the audio level later. Okay, that sounds about right. I got a notification that I got disconnected. Restore chat. Okay. I got disconnected again and now I'm back. Hey, I'm having computer issues today, so I am gonna end this for now. I can't pop out my chat, or can I pop out chat? There we are. Okay, we're there. Thanks to everybody for joining me today. This was fun to get back into doing some music for a change. I've been my head's been buried in video world lately. I've just been doing a lot of video projects, and so it's fun to get to do some audio again. This song still needs some work, and so part of it is maybe tracking some guitars and stuff to kind of beef up just from a production standpoint on that chorus. And then really giving the vocals and the background vocals like the royal treatment and featuring those, because Gabriel's got a great voice and those background vocals are really a big part of the song too. I don't want to over process them because they came with actually some processing already, and so I don't want to do a bunch of my own stuff on top of the stuff that they did. I want to let it be, for the most part, like pretty natural as far as what they sent. And then yeah, maybe redo that shaker, and then just build some stuff intentionally on verses and choruses and big sections. I want that chorus 3A to be like such a huge payoff when he's like, and that little drum fill, to be such a huge payoff that people are like, just cheering in the streets. That is that's the goal there. But we're not far away. Honestly, it's like already sounds really good. It sounds huge. Honestly, it's like the challenge is going to be making it not sound huge for the entire song, because you don't want to wear people out with like too much epicness. You want to stretch that out. So you want it to be a little more chill in the beginning. Which I'll end up doing through the drums and through adding things in the chorus, so that'll make the chorus even bigger, things like that. But yeah, I got a bit more work to do on this one. I may live stream again if I get the chance, but I will probably more likely work on this offline and hopefully get it done sooner rather than later, to get it back in Gabriel's hands and then into y'all's hands. Whoever's watching in the public can be just blessed with this song. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to log off so that I don't get kicked off again, because I keep getting kicked off here on this live stream. And yeah, thanks for joining me, everyone who did, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.